The side menu has a lot of the same functionality as the toolbar at the top. One difference though is it goes into a couple more options that the toolbar doesn't have. If we go to smooth or even grow, you'll start to see that underneath this tool header we have feather and strength. Below that we have shape. This is for our tools. We can even add new tools. In texture we can add texture maps and use those in a way that is similar to alpha. We could like paste an image to the surface and add a lot of detail that way. At the bottom we have mirror. This is all underneath the modeling tab. So if we go into here, we'll see that we have the same basic tools. We click add, we can add a OBJ or ASC, and we can make tools in other programs. And I made this one. So once that's added, we need to select it from the drop down. So here's our tool. Any tool that's more complex than the basic ones is going to really slow down the system. So if you're going to use something that is a little bit more complex, you should probably go to a lower res. The trade-off though is, as it always is, for speed you lose a lot of the detail. So if I zoom in, you can see how much detail is in this model. But if I paste this, if I add clay, it's really not that sharp. If I had added clay when we were in the large preset, it would look exactly like the tool, but it would have taken maybe 20 seconds or so to put down one piece of clay. You can also remove anything that you add. To demonstrate stamp, I'm going to use a cube. Now, if you place your tool exactly where you want it and you want to add clay, if I'm in follow mode, I snap it, or I click on the screen, the tool I just precisely placed jumps off of where I just put it. So if you want to place your tool and then add clay, switch to one of your handles like rotation or translation. I like to use translation, so just select one of the axes and now just click to add clay. So now we have our clay cube. Let's add an image. You can add a JPEG or BMP. Oops. This is our old-fashioned checkerboard. Select. Now you can see that now that we have a texture selected, we can see that that texture is now in the middle of our tool. If I take the tool, it's not really doing much right now. So let's add snap to clay. Now it snaps to clay, but it's not oriented properly to the surface. So let's hit orient to gradient. Now we can see that the image is now flat with the surface. One thing you don't notice now is that the image is backwards. I don't know if you can see this. So here's our dark square, light square, light square. And here it's opposite. That's just one thing that the program does at the moment. Like textures like these you won't really notice. So, but I'll show you where it can be a problem later on. So when you want to stamp, you actually have to select the stamp tool. That's what I didn't do before. Okay, so now we have feather is off and strength is all the way up. So now you can see what we did. Now if I do feather all the way up, you'll see what happens. It's quite a drop off from the center out. And here you have the full image. Now if we turn our strength down a bit, feather all the way down, get slightly better. The reason why it's not as sharp as the image is because we're in the small preset. When you start using textures, you want to be in a higher resolution. There's no point in doing texture work at a low res. It's not going to look good. So leave that for the high resolution levels. Now if I add another one, I have the word clay. So here it is. You can see it says clay. But now on our tool though, if we look at it, it's backwards. And again, that's just something the program does. So you can turn the tool or mess around the settings to try and get it to display properly. But in the end, the easiest thing to do is just to take the image and swap it in flip it over in a different program. So right now you can see that it's backwards. Oop, I didn't select it. So now it's backwards here, but it's the right way here. Let me show you the difference between resolution levels. That took quite a while to add with my computer at this level of resolution. Now, if we go to add our texture, oops, forgot to put on stamp. It's sharper. Now you can actually read that. You couldn't read it at the other level. And then at the bottom you have mirroring. That's just like the tab up here. One thing to mention is with these operations, when you select an operation over here, you see it update on the button over there. But one thing that doesn't happen is right now I'm in follow mode, now I'm in translation mode, but this icon does not update. So beware that if you start using the shortcuts here, T for translate, R for rotation, F for follow, S for scale, they're not going to update here. So don't change to translate here and then start selecting over here. It's going to get all screwy.